literature has always inspired me to go ahead. One very important element about literature is that it is invention. The moment you lose the capacity to invent something, then you should stop writing literature. Literature is invention. And it is, I tell you one episode. We were having a folklore congress at the Nepal Academy. The earth started shaking. The building shook. There are people in the next section, the bomb bole, utapati, and this side we took out a mirror, aina, and we started pumping hair. And I wrote a haiku. She took this from the bag, she combed her hair. That's the end of the earthquake. So this is something that I don't have any means except poetry to express. So I rush to that medium. So poetry is that very faculty of mind that allows you to invent something that is not there. It is this very impulse that always took me all my life. Success, I don't say I'm hugely successful, but that personally my journey is shaped by this very creative imagination. And as we say, we teachers in Nepal, we say that creative literature can be a very important tool for teaching students language. So that is my question.
Thank you, sir. Well, I have the last question. Yeah. It was Hedy Simon, sir, right, sir? It was Hedy Simon who said, "Poetry is dead. Does anybody care?" That was the text. It was, I think, published in New York Times, something like that, long back. And then somewhere she has said that if it is dead, then I have rephrased it as the education system, but not it. But she has said that if poetry is dead, we teachers are responsible for death. We school teachers are responsible for death. But what I have written here is the education system. But when I see, when we see this type of presence here, then it is difficult to say that. But at the same time, there was another article on Rumi is the best-selling poet in US still. Rumi. That's why. What perspective we want to look from, that is different. Patil sir, what can we know? It's okay. There is poetry is everywhere, even in our spoken language, in our writing, because each act of writing involves deliberate attempt of organizing words, sentences, and definite purpose and distinct pattern. It means poetry is everywhere. But the way poetry is perceived in our school system or education system, maybe it may be true in Indian context as well. What can we do to bring poetry back to the classroom? Is there anything that?
Okay. So I think as
microphone.
I think as teachers of the English language and literature, we need to prioritize our priorities or objectives of teaching language and literature in our classes. Now, several years ago, an article was published in the Times of India. It was written by Shashi Tharoor. And his main argument in that particular article was that most of the terrorists came from technology and science background. Because I'm reminded of the book called Two Cultures by C.P. Snow. There is the head of culture of the head and the culture of the heart. Science and technology nourishes and nurtures your intellect, your head. But it is literature that nurtures and nourishes your heart and humanizes you. So his argument was that most of the terrorists came from technology and science background. That's why there is an urgent need for all of us to consider the importance of poetry or literature in general, so that our boys and girls in our classrooms, our students in the classroom become humane, not just human, but humane. So you are right, we need to introduce literature. I say, even in engineering colleges, even in management colleges and institutions, I say, why don't you include some literature? Maybe short stories, some interesting short stories, humorous essays, some simple poems like Daffodils, Solitary Reaper, Stopping by Woods, Snowy Evening, Second Coming, some simple, short, simple poems.
Thank you, sir.
Right. And the other factor that is responsible for the loss of interest in poetry, we are responsible. We go with the textbook in the classroom and we say, well, my dear students, today I'm going to teach poetry. Remember, poetry teaching is not a child's play. Poetry teaching is difficult. And immediately the question that comes to the mind of the learner is, my goodness, my teacher who has been teaching English language and literature for 40 years says even today that teaching poetry is not an easy task. I was born only yesterday. How can I understand poetry? So we don't know what damage we cause in our classrooms. We make sweeping statements, blanket, black and white statements, right? Poetry is difficult. Story is easy. I mean, I pity those people who make generalizations like this and who assume things like that. When we assume, we make an ass of you and me. You look at the spelling of the word assume, A-S-S-U-M-E. When we assume, we make an ass of you and me. So both of us become asses because we have wrong assumptions. So we need to introspect. I think most students lose interest in poetry because they have very bad teachers.
She was
Very bad teachers.
She was right.
The teacher is like a farmer. I always think of this. The teacher is like a farmer. He owns a cow, and the poem is a cow, and this teacher milks the cow to the last drop. Leaves no milk for the calf to suck from the mother's udders. Right? And as a consequence, the student becomes lame, haggard, pale, dependent. Right? Why do we do all this? We can just give this central idea and ask our learners to respond. Let them respond to poetry, to literature. We dole out everything for them. They do nothing. Right?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for a great idea. Avisa, there is one query from the, I don't know who gave me this one. It says that context and intended meaning of the poem, the sophistrom from the writer's perspective, please. Somebody just handed it to me. They say that,
Yes, sir, we also watch.
okay, there are many friends that they want to know the context and intended meaning. Let's not speak from that deconstructive perspective. You're one intended meaning of the poem, the sophistrom. They want to know, a very specific way.
That poem doesn't make things happen. Can I just take in one more minute?
Sure, please.
W.B. Yeats, the very famous Irish and English poet, he died in 1939, and he lay dead. And another Anglo poet, W.S. Auden, went to see him and then wrote a poem on his death in memory of W.B. Yeats. He was not yet buried. And one line that occurs in that poem is, poetry makes nothing happen. It survives in the valley of its own saying. That's what he said. But as Rai sir said earlier, that was wrong. Poetry continued to make sense and think happen. The question was
And
about
the context
context.
and your intended meaning of that poem. That's
I don't have one definite context about that. I told you earlier, I was very badly haunted by the story of human suffering. I have picked up instances of human suffering. There was I saw one photograph of a child running around, a video, carrying a transistor radio around his neck. His mother was dead. He was going around carrying the transistor radio looking for his mother. How painful. I have picked up the instances of pain in that poem. So it is this moments of pain that made me soft. When people become soft, they cry. So those are the moments that made me soft. But the moments were not only very gruesome, harsh, they were also very sublime, soft. There are certain instances where I have deeply felt sense of love also comes in the poems. So it is these various moments that inspired me to write a poem that made me soft. So we become soft not only by the dukkha, but also by the joyful moment. So there is, I can't tell you, there is one theme, one context in that poem. Multiple contexts.
I'll just take a minute, if you don't mind.
Okay, please. Quick.
Your question was about intended meaning or implied meaning.
Yeah, it was.
If you ask me, I don't subscribe to that particular idea. There is nothing like intended meaning. I'll give you an example. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high over brazen hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils. Once I was teaching this particular poem in my undergraduate class, and I asked my students, what do you think is the meaning of the word host? Now, from your point of view, from the intended meaning point of view, the meaning of the word host is innumerable, uncountable, numberless, because he saw numberless flowers, right? But then I asked my students, do you have any other interpretation? And they came up with brilliant interpretations. I was happily surprised. One boy said, sir, I think the poet is playing the role of the host. Sorry, the flowers are playing the role of the host, and the poet is playing the role of the guest. It is the responsibility of the host to entertain the guest. And that's exactly what the flowers are doing. So that was one interpretation. And another student, this time a girl, came up with another brilliant interpretation. She said, sir, in biology, we have a host and a parasite. Now in this poem, the poet is the parasite and the flowers are the host. Because the poet is seeking pleasure, deriving pleasure from the dancing and fluttering flowers. So they are the host and he is a parasite. Right? So these are brilliant interpretations. And that's why we should not insist on one single interpretation. There are interpretations and interpretations and interpretations.
Thank you, Professor Patil, for that. And then when officer was relating the experience, and there was some pain and pleasure, and something like Jack Lacan's that Juisa, where you pain and pleasure goes simultaneously. And I have used Nepali word for that, Juisa, Pidananda. Yeah, where you cannot avoid one while seeking for the other. And then, yeah, there is this side of, even if the site is very beautiful and then we are trying to compose, during that time, the type of suffocation, the sense of helplessness that we suffer because of lack of words, and then the missing or intended meaning, that I feel a sort of pain there. When it comes out and pleasure is there. That's why
certain sorts.
yeah. That's why. Okay, now we are moving to the last session, which is poetry in action. Our Raiswar will conduct. I don't know what he's going to conduct. We haven't shared it beforehand. Raiswar will around 25 minutes. Raiswar will be here to conduct the writing workshop. This will help us to create or to create poems, to help our students create poems in the classroom. Regarding this, I want to share one poem by Christopher Laws, how motivation, inspiration is inevitable for our students. The teacher, come to the age, student, we might fall. Teacher, come to the age, it is too high. The teacher, come to the age, and they came. The teacher pushed, and the student flew away. That's why that type of motivation we need. And Raiswar will give some tips and demonstrate how we can do it in the classroom.
Thank you.
Now the fun time is over and you have to work, I'm sorry. But it's being very creative, so I hope you will enjoy it. So I will do two very short activity of writing poems. And after you write, when the time is over, those who finished, they will raise their hands and we'll invite 5 of them to recite their creation. It's very short creation, of course, and you don't have to be Shakespeare or Blake or whoever. Okay, that is what we believe in creative writing classes. We are not trying to, we do not expect them to be Kalidas and, Devkota, but we are trying to make them creative, because these schools are often blamed that they have killed creativity. Okay? This is
No, not now.
not now.
No, not now.
I will give you task.
You are not. He wants to be.
No, please. I will give you tasks, 2 simple tasks, and then you write them, and then you have the opportunity to recite them. I will request everyone, but I don't compel anyone. This is just the request. Even I request to the professors, if they like. So the first we write some haikus because they are very short. And you know that haiku is 7 syllables, 3 lines poem, 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables second line, 5 syllables third line. Although Abhisar, he doesn't follow that rule, and in English language, haikus are written that way. They don't follow it strictly, because Japanese counting of syllables and English counting of syllables, Urdu and Nepali counting of syllables are quite different. So I give you 2 lines of the haiku and you have to complete the third line. Okay? So write it down. I will tell you. An aged old blind man, an aged old blind man, that's the first line. I repeat, an aged old blind man sitting alone at midnight, that's the second line. Sitting alone at midnight. Now you have to complete the third line. Okay? This is the first. The second haiku is 2 haiku. Let me tell you again. Under the street lamp, that's the first line. Under the street lamp, street children huddle together. Street children huddle together. And now you have to complete the third line. So you have 5 minutes. And those who finish within 5 minutes, they will raise hands. Keep track of time, please. I don't have one. Five minutes. Okay. Okay, I think because we don't have time and some of you have finished, so we'll stop this activity here and listen to their creations. Yes. No, give him like this. Hello? Hello? Oh! Give his hand first. Yes, please.
Let me begin with the second. Under the street lamp, street children huddle together, looking for a warm embrace.
Looking for a
Warm embrace.
warm embrace. Okay. I'm sure you have maintained the syllables. Because this is in the classroom activity. You are not as free as officer here. Okay, next one. Please recite your next one.
An age-old blind man sitting alone at midnight, looking at the burning crops at the tirelessly. There is no proper rhyming or space in the first.
But that's too long, I would say. Please go there. The last pen. Last pen.
So, your select, sir. Over here, sir. To your right, sir. Sir, to your right. Sir,
This is the terminology.
sir, can I recite?
Yeah.
So, over here, sir. Over here. To your right.
Okay. Right. Next one. Mm. Yeah, I understand. Another one. Why have you distributed these mics, please? Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Okay, sir. Okay. An age-old blind man sitting alone at midnight, thinking of times long gone by. This is the first one. And the second one. Under the street lamp, street children huddle together with grumbling stomach and shaky hands. So, sir, can I also you recite an original poem of mine? It will not take long.
No, because we don't have time. And I request professors here that they will listen and maybe later on comment on them. Okay. Who went one? No, there. Please. This is not for a walk. Okay.
English one, sir. Last line.
Stop. Just a minute. If there is any female contestant, I will give priority. Any female? Yeah, please.
Side one. An aged-old blind man sitting alone at midnight, turning his fast light on. The second one. Under the street lamp, street children huddled together, looking at the street light, wondering of their future.
Okay. Probably that's too long. Yes, yes, please give here.
An age-old blind man sitting alone at midnight looking stars continuously. Under the street lamp, street children huddle together without thin blankets.
Without?
Thin blankets.
Without thin blanket, okay. Yes? Okay.
Okay. I tried my best, sir. An age-old blind man sitting alone at midnight floated into a cold lake. Floated into a cold lake.
Okay.
And second, under the street lamp, street children huddled together, hushed with cold night. Hushed with cold night.
Okay, thank you, thank you. I was told that maybe this creation might be printed. No?
No.
Okay.
Next conference.
Huh? Sorry?
Next conference.
Next conference, okay. Right. I will stop here. I know that you wanted to recite yours, but there is no time. I will do another activity. But before that, I will tell you mine. I have also written here. The second one is already mine, so I know the answer. The first one, an aged old blind man sitting alone at midnight, listening to the moon. Listening to the moon. And the second one, if you would like to know, that's street children, under the street lamp post, under the lamp post or something, street lamp post, street children huddled together, paper fire flickers. That's the. Okay. Here is the second and final activity. What I would like you to do is, you hold your neighbor's hand and close your eyes for maybe 5 seconds. And then you will write your feeling, how you feel. Okay? You got it? You will hold your neighbor's hand, sitting the person next to you, for 5 seconds, and then write your feeling about it. Okay. For example, okay, let me do. For example, I will hold my colleague's hand here for 5 seconds. I close my eyes. And she does the same. I will write my feeling about it, and you will do the same. It's for you. I just don't do the same. Or male or female doesn't matter. I can hold hand to somebody else. For example, I will hold his hand. I will write two. Yeah, I have to write two. But please do. Please do it.
Guys, let's do, although we are not daring enough like him, please let's follow, at least for the sake of this activities.
My neighbor's hand.
Not a strong man, very flimsy, very fragile.
एकमात्र दादी दरबार एकमात्र पंजाबी दरबार
Punjabi?
शान शाह एकमात्र पंजाबी दरबार दादी पंजाबी दरबार nice I feel so cold and hungry actually. Little hungry.
Now?
Early, I ate breakfast very early and now
Yeah,
I'm hungry.
I also feel a little hungry now. Because of winter.
अब त भोक लागेर लोक मारेर
You don't seem to write. Right, sir, has already jotted down.
Next question, very common. Only one person.
Yes, yes. Okay, please.
Am I loud enough for everyone to hear? Hello. This is a haiku that I just wrote. Mushy and sweaty, though I feel some warmth inside. I wonder what she felt when I grabbed her hand.
Yeah, I understand. Nice. Okay. There is another one. Please.
Sorry, I don't know whether it is poem or not. Next is my friend. I held his hand, guessing what others think they may tell us lesbians.
I felt hard and harsh like a rose thorn, but after some seconds gave me positivity. One saying, the roots of education are bitter, but its fruit is sweet. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. No ladies this time?
All right. Sticky, trembling, soft, warm, farewell.
Very nice.
That's good.
Very nice. That is something. Yes.
That sounds like
Yes.
It's just two lines. So I feel very warm and cool, comfortable and soulful.
good, good.
You can take the last one.
Plenary one.
Good, good.
Thank you, sir. Just now,
God was shaking and I was like that. A just arrived sparrow swings with branch, touching earth. I swing with the grass, bird leaf branch and goes to skies and down. Taking out mirror from bag, she combs her hair, end of article.
I would like to request Mira ma'am, immediate past president, very difficult for me, to come to the dais and hand over the token of love to our today's poets. And with these words, and certificates too, thank you for your time and thank you for bearing with you for this 90 minutes or more than this. And I'm really grateful to your passion for poetry and patience. Thank you. Professor Abhisudi. Now I request Professor Rai. Rai sir.
ए अर्कै रहेछ नि त
Now we will share from India, Professor Dr. J.M. Patil. And Patil sir, since it is the same token of love that you have got to study, we don't have one for you, but we can if you choose to. And to moderator of this session, Dr. Bolram Adhikari sir. Thank you, we have been lovely audience. Thank you so much.
Just I want to click
And thank you support staff from DAV. Are you listening?
Okay.